I'm like, no. And this was back in the 90s. The insurance wouldn't have been anything, right? So
Right. And
yeah,
you wouldn't have paid anything to deal with this foot.
yeah,
It
it
would have
it
cost almost nothing to have it, and you would have had, like, no copay.
exactly.
And even these days, like, compared to I mean, if somebody breaks their foot, like, at my little dog daycare or whatever, I
Mhm.
mean, how much I know that getting injured is expensive even when you have insurance
It
these
is.
days,
It
you know,
is.
it's not the 90s anymore.
Right.
Now having a dog daycare, I think, like, a little bit just like my insurance is it's pretty up there,
Mhm.
but I also, am covering workers' comp insurance
Mhm.
on the 10 employees, which,
Mhm.
in an industry like with dogs, they're unpredictable and you just never know,
You never know.
but it's worth it. I mean, we've only been open for a little bit less than a year, and my insurance has already saved me. We had a dog get injured, break her little jaw.
Mm.
She didn't end up needing surgery, but she needed to get put under anesthesia a couple times for like imaging to
Mhm.
just make sure that it wasn't like so bad that she did need surgery. But
Right.
like that stuff's not cheap. Had a couple of employees get bitten, of course,
Mhm.
because it's going to happen
It's gonna happen. Yeah.
eventually. But yeah, no, I mean, we opened in March. My husband and I went on a vacation for our 20th anniversary. We ended up opening the day before we left, and one of the girls got bit like the second day we were open. I was like, wow, like if I would have put this off at all.
Yeah.
Now, to me, I don't know, it's like getting cut when you work at a restaurant.
Mhm.
Now that I've been in the industry for a little while, you don't always just run to the ER, but
Right.
that was that little girl's first job.
Mhm.
And so she was like,
She was freaking out, I'm
I think
sure.
it's infected. I think it's, I'm like, honey, go to the
Girl.
emergency. You know what I mean? Like, just go to
Right.
the emergency room. But like that right there probably would have been 5,000 bucks just to,
Absolutely.
you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I don't even pay that in a year. So
Exactly.
that is the point. Even if it is expensive, even with those two minor things that happened this
Mhm.
year, relatively minor, right? Like nobody died, nobody had surgery, just those two minor things, my insurance paid for itself like times 10 probably.
Exactly. Yeah, of course. So, yep. At least general liability, and if you're providing a service, errors and omissions. So I have general liability and errors and omissions because I am human, even though my clients may not
Explain,
think that.
explain to the people what errors and omissions does for you.
So errors and omissions, it's kind of like malpractice insurance for doctors. And things happen. Things happen. It could be one number off and throw off a whole tax return.
Spreadsheet, yeah, yeah.
It could be, I left off a form, totally missed it, and throw off everything. And now the client is, ready to wring my neck. And rightfully so, because I would be ready to wring my accountant's neck.
Right.
So, and so if it's bad, then the errors and omissions insurance covers me um up to, whatever I have, $2 million or something like that. I don't.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's big. Yeah, I can tell you must really be dealing with some big companies because mine's only 1 million for my
Right.
consultancy, which seems like
Hmm.
way overkill, but like
Right.
2 million. Well, if you're dealing with seven-figure companies, though,
Yep, exactly. And my thing is that I would rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Because you just never know
100%.
with people, you know, because it's not just about the errors and the omissions. It's about this has caused me so much trauma. And now my business is going out of business because you missed a keystroke. Mm,
Interest, penalties, you know,
all that.
yeah, defending yourself against the IRS,
Mhm.
like
Yep.
just whatever. Yeah. Ooh,
Yeah,
man.
and now if we are, because we are, mandated by the IRS, it's not necessarily licensing per se, but we
Yeah.
have responsibility that we sign off on.
Absolutely. Of
And
course. Of
and
course you
so
do.
when we mess up, it can be up to $500 per return. I don't want to pay that ever, ever per return. And so it's, you know, so yes, I would rather have it and not need it. And it's it's less than $1,200 a year. I
Right.
could,
And like,
yeah,
the nature of like your business is you guys are slammed for what, 3.5 months a
three and a
year,
half months. Yep.
right? Like all this activity you got to shove into
Yep.
this. So anytime like stress is high, hours are long,
Yep.
whatever, there's going to be
Sleep is
mistakes.
none.
That's just life. That's literally
Yeah,
it doesn't matter where you work. If those conditions are present, there's going to be mistakes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
And I make them and I embrace them. And it also lets me know, let's see, my third point or second point, like know when to stop.
okay. Okay.
When
Explain
you
that a little bit.
So yes, the hours are long, sleep is minimal,
Yeah.
nutrition and health is, you know,
Hydration. Yes.
non-existent, and all of that does play into mistakes,
Yeah.
errors, missing things. So, and this is for all entrepreneurs,
Oh my
like
gosh.
put
Please preach. Please preach.
put in a hard stop. Just put in a hard stop.
Yeah.
It can wait.
Right.
You're not
Right.
procrastinating.
Right.
It's discernment. It's
Right.
it's it's knowing when to stop. And so stop.
Yeah.
Especially, the last thing you need is for a groomer to, cut the dog, drop the dog, mess up the cat because they've done too many today, and
Exactly.
it's time to stop. Like, just stop.
Yeah. I worked in a factory my first 7 years in corporate America while I was going through college. I worked in a pharmaceutical factory. And a lot of those years, because it was the 90s and I was going to college,
Hmm.
I worked second or third shift because there was no online school in 1998, right?
Right.
It might have been like very, very niche, but it wasn't like I didn't even have a computer at the house, so it didn't matter
Right.
if
Right.
if there was such a thing anyway. Um, and yeah, like you're working, it's 3 in the morning, and you had stuff to do during that day. Like, yeah, like it can get really dangerous. Like because of that experience, and because of I was a supervisor. Sometimes I had to drive people to the hospital if they made a
Yep.
mistake, got something in their eye, cut the finger, whatever. My husband actually almost died before I met him because he dropped a pallet on his foot when he worked in a factory and he didn't have on steel-toed boots.
Oh, wow.
His toe got infected and he got MRSA infection.
Wow. Wow.
So
Wow.
like, yeah, like workplace injuries, and he was 18 at the time. Like workplace
Ooh,
injuries are no joke. So I
sure.
try to make sure that my staff like has enough support. But yeah, every once in a while,
Hmm.
something happens, somebody calls in or whatever.
Yep.
Sometimes you might have to disappoint the client. Like, I'm sorry, like we had people call in, we were booked to the hilt, nobody canceled. Like we
Right.
just can't risk,
Right.
it's better for their dog.
Absolutely. I would rather you wait till tomorrow, give
Right.
you good service,
Right.
and deal with you being pissed off today. I would rather
Right.
that than us have, a really bad accident. So, yeah.
Exactly. And you will deal with people being pissed, but what I've started to learn now is if you're not gonna be for everybody. So if people don't like the way that you do business, sometimes I had to do this yesterday. Like, look, 99% of our people are thrilled with our service, but you're unhappy every time you come. Last 7 times you come here, I'm looking at your record here. I think it's time you find a groomer that can meet your needs. We're not meeting your needs, so I'm going to go ahead and take you off your future appointments. You need to go find somebody that can give you exemplary service, and we're not meeting your
Ain't it?
expectations. So,
Right. It is okay to fire clients.
I mean,
It is
it is
okay.
the best lesson.
Mhm.
Oh man, I've been trying to keep my lessons learned out of it, right? Just
Yeah.
back you guys up, but that
Mhm.
is an important one. it's okay to fire clients. Like if they are
Okay.
just not, if for whatever reason they just, I don't know, sometimes, like I said, you can't, just like in real life, like you can't be friends with everybody. Every once in a while, somebody's
Right.
going to get on your nerves for some reason and you
Yep.
can't break the stalemate.
Correct.
Just keep it moving. It's not worth like you getting frustrated every time, them getting, I don't know why she kept coming back, but them getting frustrated every time, talking bad about my crew. Like that's one thing
Wow.
that I'm not going to allow. Like you know, badmouth them once, like in the heat of the
Mhm.
moment, if you're complaining or whatever, but they're like my kids.
Yep.
And I'm not gonna let you sit here and talk down to them, talking about,
Agreed.
well, let me speak to your manager. Oh, well, who's above you? Like, no, that's not, no, 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 we're not a corporation. And so you can't call corporate. You can only call me and I'm going to just fire you. So do what you
Bye
have
bye.
to do.
Yep.
Peace out. What else? What else? No, because I'm just gonna, because I know you got like, whoo, tell us everything from the 90s on.
Wow. So yeah, so insurance, hard stop. It's okay to fire, it's okay to fire clients. Okay. When you and energetically speaking, when you get rid of the not so desirable client, because everybody is not our client, right? Everybody is not supposed to be in my tax practice, right?
Hmm,
And all money is not good money or the right money. So it
nope.
is okay to move, a certain client out of your roster so that you'll have room for the right ones to be there.
For the
Period.
ones that
Point blank.
are thrilled with you.
Yep.
You want them thrilled with you and you want to be thrilled with them. Um,
Absolutely.
you
Absolutely.
know, then it doesn't feel like work as much.
It doesn't feel like work as much.
Right.
And the clients that I'm getting in now, mostly business owners, they just don't want to owe and they don't want to be in trouble. The other stuff they don't care about. They don't care about that. And
Yeah.
and and they want to learn during the year.
Yeah.
So they want to strategize.